This terrifying camping discovery will make you never enter the woods again. It was 10 p.m., and we were in the middle of nowhere. Our campfire had gone out hours ago, and our flashlights were starting to die. But we still hadn't seen anything like this before. It was something that would change our lives forever. Our group of friends had been hiking for days, and while we were all pretty tired, we pushed on because we wanted to see what was beyond the trees. As the sun began to set, we started to get worried. We needed to find somewhere to camp and fast. But we kept pushing on, hoping that we would find a suitable place soon. Then suddenly, through the trees, we saw an opening. There was a large space between the trees with a little stream running through it. It was perfect, so we started to make camp there. As the night wore on, though, things started to get strange. We could have sworn that we heard voices in the forest. They sounded like whispers, but they weren't coming from any of us. That's when we started to get scared. One of our friends suggested that we should start a fire. Maybe if we had some light, then whatever was out there wouldn't be able to get us. But just as he finished his sentence, one of our flashlights turned off, then another and another, until all we had was one small flashlight. That's when we started to run out of options. We were lost in the middle of nowhere, and soon it would be completely dark. If we didn't do something fast, then we were going to end up spending the night in the forest without any protection. But then one of our friends had an idea. He said that he knew a trick that would scare away whatever was out there. All we needed to do was pretend that we had seen something scary, so we agreed to go along with his plan. One of us would stay by the campfire, pretending to be scared out of his mind, while the others hid behind the trees. Then when whatever was out there got close enough, we would all jump out and yell as loud as we could. We thought that it was the best plan that we had come up with, but there was only one way to find out. The first person who volunteered to stay by the campfire was Jake. He sat down by the dying flames and started to scream, "Oh my God, over and over again." The rest of us hid behind the trees nearby, trying to be as silent as possible. A few minutes went by, and then we started to hear footsteps in the forest. Whatever was out there was getting closer and closer. Jake continued to scream, oh my God," and the footsteps stopped. Then we heard a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. "Leave now," it said. "Leave and I won't hurt you." At first, we thought that it was part of the plan, but then the voice said, "I mean it, leave or you'll be sorry." The voice sounded angry, and we knew that it wasn't part of the plan. We didn't know what to do, so we decided to run. We all ran as fast as we could through the darkness, crashing into each other and tripping over tree roots. We didn't stop running until we had put as much distance between ourselves and the forest as possible. When we finally stopped, we turned around to look back at the forest. It was then that we realized that we had made a terrible mistake. In our haste to get away from the forest, we had run straight into a dead end. We were surrounded by trees on all sides with no way out. We had nowhere to go. Then we started to hear footsteps behind us, heavy footsteps. They were getting closer and closer, and we knew that whatever was out there was not happy with us. One of our friends started to cry out in fear, but we all knew that there was nothing we could do. We were trapped. Then suddenly, one of the trees in front of us started to move. It swayed back and forth as if someone was climbing it. We watched in horror as the branches scraped against each other, making a horrible screeching sound. Then the tree lurched forward and crashed to the ground, blocking our path. We were trapped with no way out. We all started to scream at the top of our lungs, but it was too late. Whatever was out there had us surrounded. Then we heard a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. "You can't escape me now," it said. "You're mine." We screamed and begged for mercy, but it was too late. We were at the mercy of whatever was out there, and that's when we saw it. It was tall and thin with long, sharp teeth. Its eyes glowed red in the darkness, and its skin was a sickly green color. It lunged at one of our friends and sunk its teeth into his arm. He screamed in pain as blood poured out of the wound. We tried to help him, but it was too late. The creature had already killed him. Then it turned its glowing red eyes toward us and started to advance. We all screamed and ran in different directions, but it was too late. It was fast and strong, and soon caught up to us. It lunged at me, and I felt its cold, slimy hands wrap around my body. I struggled to free myself, but it was no use. It was too strong. Then I saw its eyes glowing red in the darkness, and it opened its mouth to reveal its long, sharp teeth. I closed my eyes tight and waited for the pain, but it never came. When I opened my eyes, I saw that the creature was gone. I looked around to see if anyone else was still alive, but I was the only one. Everyone else was dead, their bodies lying around me in various states of decay. I don't want to be too dramatic, but at that moment I felt like I was the only human being left on Earth. I ran as fast as I could away from the forest, not stopping until I had put as much distance between myself and that place as possible. To this day, I can still hear the voice in my nightmares. You can't escape me now. You're mine. I don't know what that creature was or where it came from, but I know that there are some places in this world that are best left unexplored. If you ever hear a voice in the forest that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time, then run. Don't stop running until you are safe. If you ever see a tree in the forest that seems to be moving on its own, then stay away. It may be hiding something that you don't want to see. The forest is a beautiful place, but it can also be a dangerous one. There are things in there that we don't understand, things that we can't explain. And sometimes those things want to hurt us. But I'm not going to let that stop me. I love the forest and I'm not going to give up my love for it just because of a few bad experiences. Maybe someday I'll find the courage to go back and explore the forest again. But for now, I'm content to just hike in more populated areas. If you've enjoyed this story, then be sure to check out my other videos. Thanks for watching.